Merry Christmas, baby. Reindeer's coming out to play. Santa Claus is packing the presents, making sure you've been behaving okay. Merry Christmas, honey. Yeah. The snowman's dusting off his hat, putting on the show for everybody, to give them a smile that lasts another year. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas, baby. The snow is laying 2 feet deep. Now wish upon a falling star, so all your secret dreams can come true. There's something that happens when sleigh bells are ringing, when December ends, when the children are singing, yeah. It's Merry Christmas, baby. Ooh, yeah. There's room at the table for big and for small. All the fire is popping, the chestnuts are cracking, yeah. Merry Christmas, baby.
Well, Merry Christmas, baby. Merry Christmas to everyone. Hi, J. Scott McMillan here. This is Crypto Talk with Brianna and Scott. Unfortunately, you just got Scott today. Brianna is out today. She's got lots of Christmas and holiday getting together, so she isn't going to be with us today. But we're still going to have a holiday Christmas show. Brianna, I hope you have a wonderful Christmas and get all of your holiday Christmas shopping done and get ready for that wonderful day with your kiddos. Anyway, so welcome everyone. If you're online today, please say hello in the chat, and I'd like to wish you a happy holidays and Merry Christmas. Today is the holiday version of Crypto Talk with Brianna and Scott. It's also the COVID version. I am in my office slash bedroom slash apartment that I've been staying in the last, oh gosh, how many months? 4 or 5 months now. But I got COVID last week, and so I've been literally stuck in this room for a week. I did get out today in the car, in the drive-thru, with my mask to Starbucks because I had to have some coffee. I hadn't been out of this room for 5 days. Whew. So I thought I was going to get away with it. I thought I wasn't going to get the COVID. Almost 3 years? And I went to Mexico last week, and boom, on the way back, I got it. And it's just one of those things that I've been vaccinated, and I traveled to Mexico last year. Didn't have any problem. Didn't get sick, didn't have any issues. So I was surprised that I got it, but here we are. And so I'm quarantined. But that doesn't stop the show, because crypto goes on and Crypto Talk goes on. And believe me, I can talk about crypto for a long time. So I thought what I would do today is kind of freeform a little bit. I've got a couple of articles, and I thought I would show you a little bit about the process I use when I am going through articles to try to find information to share with y'all. And I sort of have a process that I go through, and I have a couple of newsletters, probably 4 or 5 that I get in email. And at that point, I just go through and I can tag them and clip them to my Evernote. and then I go into Evernote and I highlight things usually, and they automatically get clipped to my Evernote crypto news folder, which is really cool. So why don't I go ahead and share my screen here? And well, this is the first article I had queued up, but you know what? I just thought about doing this. I'm going to show you. This is my email system. I actually use a pretty cool email system called hey.com. That's what it is, hew.com. And it's a really nice email system, but it allows me to scan things and file emails, and I just find it a nice email system. So let me go through here real quick. All right, so what I do is I'll just go through here, and I'm going to find, let's see, what's a good, let's see. I usually like Weiss Crypto is a really good one. So this is my man Juan Villaverde from Weiss Crypto, and I usually like his stuff. Let's see. This is actually a newsletter that I subscribe to, and he's talking about, well, let's just take a look here. So a lot of times this is what I'll do, is I will just pull this up. And so I've got this cool little Evernote clipper up here. I don't know if you can see that. Let me see if I can blow up my screen. Well, it blows up that screen. But I click on my little Evernote web clipper here. And what's cool about it, you usually can figure out what I'm talking about. But in this case, it was close. But I just have to type in, let's see, part of, let's get it up here. Let's see. And it usually can figure out that I need crypto news. And then I say save clip. So what I do is I go from email and I'll open it up in a web browser, and then I'll clip it to my Evernote. All right, so I'm gonna pop out of here. I'll go into my Evernote. I'll go into my crypto news folder, and now that just popped up. All right, cool. So let's go ahead. So I'm gonna make it bigger here. Hopefully you guys can see this. Let's see, let's make it bigger. And so now I'm in Evernote, and I haven't really even read the article, but I know that I wanted to clip it in here. And so then I just go through and I read this stuff, and I say, you know, the next Bitcoins. Okay, interesting. And it says if you'd invested a meager 100 when Bitcoin was first traded publicly, and you'd simply held it through the ups and downs, you'd have more than 79 million today. Wow, okay. A lot of times I'll just highlight that and say, ooh, that's interesting. Can this feat be repeated? Could you invest 100 right now and again turn it into tens of millions of dollars in Bitcoin? And he says the answer is no. So back in the early days, so that's got my attention. So back in the early days, Bitcoin was still a small experimental asset, much like a penny stock. Obviously, that's no longer the case. Bitcoin is much more mature asset. It has already surpassed 1 trillion, so I find that really interesting, in market cap. 1 trillion in market cap, and has already created countless millionaires and even billionaires. So yes, you can still make a lot of money in Bitcoin, but for the opportunity to build the kind of monumental wealth that early Bitcoin investors have created for themselves, you need to look beyond Bitcoin. You need to take a deep dive in a new crypto revolution now underway that very few people have ever heard of. I call it the greatest money revolution of all time. Oh my gosh, now he has my attention. All right, and it's not an overstatement, because these little known cryptos I will name in this report are beginning to thoroughly revolutionize the largest industry on earth, banking and finance. Okay, so I'm beginning to wonder if this is a little bit about a newsletter that he's going to have. Let's just see if he's talking about DeFi. Yeah, I think he's basically talking about DeFi. So I'm going to scroll through here a little bit. It says, in 2020, decentralized finance has had less than $1 billion in assets. Now it's close to $100 billion in assets. It's talking about DeFi. Okay, this is a really good article. I just came across this, but it's about DeFi, which is, I'm a huge believer in DeFi. And I really believe DeFi is where the action is right now, especially as this market goes sideways, as we're in a bear market, really. DeFi is where the action is. This is where I'm spending most of my time. And I've mentioned before on the show that I don't spend a lot of time in altcoins. I dollar cost average into Ethereum and Bitcoin, and then I focus on DeFi. So I think a lot of people are coming over to DeFi because the market has been so bad, and they've watched CeFi, basically these centralized financial institutions that have come over to crypto and have failed one after other, including FTX and Celsius. And people are saying, this DeFi, this completely decentralized crypto, is working pretty good. And so what he says here is that this will be 40 times larger than Bitcoin. So this is interesting. I'm not sure where he's going to go with this because I use it for gaining yield. But a lot of people also invest in the DeFi coins for these smart contracts that I actually use to gain yield. But the coins can be valuable also. So we'll see what he goes here with. He says, method 1, simply own the cryptocurrency that provides the infrastructure, the basic building blocks without which this amazing new DeFi world wouldn't be possible. So that is interesting because I assume what he's thinking here is Ethereum, and you've got the layer 2s, which are like Polygon, Optimism, Arbitrum. These are providing really good networks with fast transaction times, low gas fees to provide these DeFi transactions. Because a lot of times when we are making a DeFi transaction, we're providing liquidity and earning an interest rate or yield. Some of these transactions are multi-level. It may be 4, 5, 6, sometimes 10 transactions just to carry out one DeFi task, if you will. And so these networks, these layer 2 networks that speed that all up and provide low gas fees are really valuable. So method 2, he says, is to own 3 smaller cryptos that he's going to tell you about in a minute there. And number 3 is the most intriguing of all, the rare undiscovered coins that are still virtually unknown that are not so easy to buy. All right, so I'm not going to read this whole thing. But let's see, he's talking about, looks like he's looking at Synthetics, which is an awesome DeFi protocol that basically allows you to invest in assets like gold, but it tokenizes it, or even commodities like wheat, and it tokenizes it in a synthetic token. I think you can also wrap Bitcoin in a synthetic token and use Bitcoin as an asset investment in a DeFi protocol to earn yield. So let's see, what's another one? DeFi Star, I haven't heard of that one. Yearn Finance is another really good DeFi protocol that allows for lending and swapping and trading. And so I think what he's saying here is that if you buy these coins, because DeFi is getting so much attention now, that the basic coins itself that support that protocol are going up in value because these smart contracts are just becoming more and more valuable because people are seeing that DeFi is really working. So this is my take on this article of going through this. Now, I typically haven't really invested in I'm going to get out of this here for a second. Oh, hold on here. Let me go back. Yeah, hold on here. Okay. I haven't typically invested a lot in the DeFi coins as assets to hold to increase in value. Doesn't mean that I won't, but right now I'm really focusing on using DeFi to earn yield. And my strategy is really, if I can earn an average yield of 50% to 70% over a 5-year or longer time frame, and I can have significant savings, in that time. And so it's new. DeFi is new, so there's no guarantee that this stuff will run smoothly for 5 years or more or less. But the plan is that it will, and that I stay on it closely, and I do move my assets around in these different protocols because they change a lot. And something that's earning 50%, you got to ask the question is, why is it earning 50%, right? And the question is, there is incentives and there are reasons beyond just market dynamics or supply and demand that they do inflate some of these yields on some of these DeFi apps. And so what that means is that you got to be careful, because we saw in the Terra Luna collapse that what attracted people to the UST token, that algorithmic stablecoin, was that you could put it in a smart contract that they had basically were in cahoots with and earn 20%. And they made it really simple. You didn't have to understand much. You just basically took your assets, plopped them over there, and they were earning 20%. And that was unsustainable, obviously. And they were pumping up that 20% artificially to attract people to invest with them. That wasn't a natural yield that is earned normally by fees earned from swapping. So the basics of DeFi, the basics of yield farming and providing liquidity is that you put your assets in a DeFi protocol, usually a swapping protocol, a DEX, a decentralized exchange, and then you can earn interest off the fees. Other people swapping because you provided that liquidity or those tokens. Now those tokens exist there and they can be swapped back and forth by other customers. The protocol charges them a fee, and then you as the liquidity provider earn those fees. That's typically how you earn yield and interest. And the way these are set up, how much value, how much transaction total are in those applications at the time that you're providing liquidity will determine how much interest rate you can get. And it's usually anywhere from 4 to 10% on stable coins, which is great. Now, if you've got stable coins and you're earning 20, 30, 40%, you've got to wonder why. And so it doesn't mean that you can't participate in a yield farm or a DeFi application that's doing that. It's just you have to watch it and know that it's probably artificially raised and that it will come down because it's unsustainable at that rate. And so yield farming and really earning good yield over the long run in DeFi right now is to just watch these protocols. You put your assets in, you watch them, you vet them to make sure they're actually really good quality protocols, as quality as we can be, and that they've been audited so they can't get hacked. Excuse me, COVID kicking in. I've got my Ricola here, so now I need to pop one of these and have a drink, but hopefully we'll get through this. Anyway, so I'm on this DeFi tangent right now, but I find it fascinating, and that article pointed out that DeFi is where it's at. So I'm really excited because that's where I've been focusing most of my attention, and that's just going to get more and more. And I really think this FTX and this whole crash in crypto is going to be great for DeFi and for DeFi proponents like myself, because people are seeing that, well, a lot of these coins are down. You're not going to do too well right now, but you can do great in DeFi. So when we turn the corner and we start going back up, not only will these other coins that people are investing in be more valuable, but the DeFi coins also will start to go up. So what that article is saying is that you want to also invest just as a holding the tokens for some of these DeFi protocols and just hold them, which is not what I'm doing much right now. I've got a few of them in a very small account where I hold a few of the tokens of Uniswap and SushiSwap and some of these other DeFi protocols, but I'm not focusing on that much at this point. So interesting information. We'll see where that goes from here. All right, so let's get to a couple of articles. What I found was I'm actually working on a blog post, and end of the year, kind of starting of the new 2023. What did we learn in 2022? What can we learn and look forward to in 2023? Not quite ready yet, but I did find a couple articles that just talked about 2022, and it was a crazy, crappy year for price-wise, of course. But I got to tell you guys, I didn't feel this crush, this pain. I wasn't crushed by FTX, and so that could have I'd make a difference, right? If I was, maybe I'd be much more bitter. But I looked at it as a cleansing, if you will, for the industry. And I'm really glad that people are starting to understand the difference between pure decentralized and DeFi applications and the pure DeFi crypto versus this hybrid CeFi institutions that came in. And really, I just, on a tangent here, this is really my take on this whole year of the craziness. And it's been a couple of years, actually. And what I feel is that what happened was you had people, not institutions necessarily, but individuals that were in traditional finance years ago. And they could see that as the crypto market was blossoming and becoming real, that there was opportunity to make some good money there. I think they also thought, and they may not have started out this way, but I believe it became obviously clear to them that they could make a lot of money, and because it was unregulated, they could do some things that they couldn't do in traditional finance because they'd have to report it and it just wouldn't be allowed, but that they could get away with some stuff. Over leveraging and doing deals behind doors that nobody knew about. Now, in traditional finance, a lot of deals are done behind closed doors. We sort of expect that. But in in truly decentralized finance in crypto, that's not the world that we're creating. We're creating an open and transparent and decentralized environment where there is no one entity that can control, shut down, or close access to our assets, or control necessarily how we interact with it, with our money and our funds. And so these players came in, they set up shop where they were basically lending out a ton of money, and people would give them money to invest, and they would lend it out. They would invest in very risky, I don't know if I'd say very risky, but risky assets, which are crypto assets. We all know that crypto is volatile and can be very risky, and you have to understand that. And if you're not over leveraged and you clearly understand that Bitcoin and other crypto assets are going to go up and they're going to go down, then you're fine. But if you're leveraged so much that when those assets go down, that your loan to collateral ratios get out of whack, you're going to lose. So you need to be prepared for that. And in the purely decentralized world, if you're going to take out loans, you've got to have over collateralization. You have to have twice as much or definitely more assets than you're borrowing. And then if those assets that you're using as collateral go down in value, then the protocol, the smart contract, liquidates enough so that your loan to collateral ratio is good again. And then if it keeps going down, eventually you get completely liquidated out of all of, and you have no say because it's a smart contract. Whereas in these centralized entities, people can call up and say, hey, I'm a little short today. Can you float me a few months or whatever? Or they don't even take these losses as true losses on the books. They're just hedging this and writing it. And because it's not regulated, they're not necessarily reporting it. And so that's what happened in the CeFi world. So I'm glad that they're getting caught. I'm glad now that more regulation is going to come in and cover that world, that crazy CeFi world that was this blend of traditional finance with using crypto assets, and good riddance to that. Now we'll see what happens when they regulate this. There's always going to be space for people to come in and try to take advantage of any loopholes, and also where you've got big profits, people are going to be attracted to that. But if it's regulated so that they have to report it, and as much as everything can be on chain and in the blockchain, which is transparent, which means that you can see where all the assets are and you can see what's going on. You may not exactly know what person is attached to it, but nowadays, from the analytics people can find, is that you can pretty much track it back to who's owning who and who's transacting what on the blockchain. So that's what we want. We want a transparent world where we all know what's going on and we can all play fair. And so this is what DeFi is. So I still feel super upbeat about crypto and about DeFi and the fact that we do need some regulation. And let's just be careful that they don't over-regulate and that they crush DeFi, because that would be a tragedy. And I just think that we're too far ahead. And I think what's happening is people are clearly seeing the delineation for the first time between what is sort of this negative part of crypto, that if you don't understand crypto and it's on the mainstream media, because they don't understand it, they're just saying all of crypto is like this. It's all fraudsters and it's all this. But it's clearly not. We know that and we understand that. We've always understood that decentralized finance is different than what we've seen with FTX and Celsius and 3 Hours Capital and so on. But the outside world doesn't know that yet. So I'm hoping that through this trial, through the FTX trial, that this becomes clear. I'm not super hopeful, But if long as we can have a voice and we get clear and we talk to the mainstream media as much as we can and help clarify the difference, that we can really save the crypto industry and make it prosper and do what we know it can do. All the wonderful, futuristic, and it's giving us self-authority, right? And allowing the bankless that never had a chance to even have a bank be able to save money and transact like they never could before. There are so many benefits to blockchain and crypto that the mainstream media and the world just doesn't get yet. And it's up to us, the people that love crypto, that are involved in it, that believe in it, to get the word out and to not be dragged down by what has happened in 2022, but realize that it's a cleansing. If you lost money, you're sore, you're hurt. Hopefully it wasn't enough to wipe you out. If it was, I just have to question why you had that much money in crypto. You should never put more. You really should never put money into crypto that you can't afford to completely lose and it wouldn't wipe you out. I mean, as a crypto educator, that's what I have to say. Again, nothing that I say is financial advice. Nothing on this channel, nothing in my courses are financial advice. I'm simply an educator and a crypto enthusiast. But I got to say that because it's true. And although eventually I think things will slow down, I think crypto will get less crazy and become more mainstream. And then we can plan to invest more of our assets in crypto. But right now, it's a volatile investment. Doesn't mean we shouldn't be there. Doesn't mean that we shouldn't learn and invest in it. You just have to be careful and make sure that you've got a plan and that you're not putting all your eggs in one basket, right? Simple stuff. All right, so let's move on to this article. And let me share my screen again over here. So nice little Christmas tree. I think this is kind of cool, this little Christmas tree, a Bitcoin Christmas tree. And this is, I think, from Coinbase. Yeah, this Coinbase. So let's look at this. So what I want to do, let's get this bigger here, is this is how I would typically go through these articles, like I showed you on that last one. Although I glanced over these a little bit, and I'll just show you how I go through this. And I would read this, and I would say, yeah, here's crypto's wild year by the numbers. Okay, that's interesting. We're going to review the highs and lows of 2022. So let's do that. I'm not even going to really look at these numbers. They change every day, but we know that boom, down arrow over here. Yes, Bitcoin, yeah, you're down. We get you. We know Ethereum, you're down. We get you. Everybody else is down. Hey, it's 2022. We get it. Doesn't mean crypto's dead. Just having a bear market, and it will be back. Bigger and better than ever. So let's look at some key numbers in crypto's historic tumultuous year. And it has been. But again, I'm still very, very positive and bullish. But the first number is that approximate value that the crypto market has shed since peaking near 3 trillion. So it shed $2 trillion. Whew. You know, that's crazy. But it's not unprecedented. It is in the volume, but these kind of drops certainly happen in crypto for sure. And in Bitcoin, they've happened, and it will be back. And the good news is, and I think these numbers will show in here, is that there's still a lot of money in crypto. So look at this one, 18.3 billion amount of venture capital raised by crypto startups. All right, well, that's a lot of money still coming into crypto projects. And so one of the cool things that they say during these bear markets is to build, to create. And this is the perfect time. And we don't even know the awesome stuff people are out there building and creating. And you can see this VC money is being put into these different projects. I'm super excited to see what these projects are, to see what people are building and creating during this bear market. And when things uptick again, these people, and the people that got in early in some of these projects, are going to be in great shape. It's another great time to be looking at new projects coming along, so that if you can get in early on them, you can do really, really well. 135 million, the amount of crypto donations raised for Ukraine in the first 3 months after Russia invaded in February. Great big number. That's another big, awesome story for crypto, was how crypto helped out Ukraine during this tragedy of the war. And there was a lot of talk about, well, yeah, Russians got some crypto too, which is probably true. But I think overall, the fact that these very needy people and the government in Ukraine got funds they needed, and as crypto gets more adopted, this will just be better and better. It's one good area. I watched an interesting video with Vitalik Buterin, creator of Ethereum, who uses crypto a lot, he said, in being able to give to charities and to philanthropy, because he transacts all over the world, giving to different world and international charities, and crypto works so well internationally, right? As we all know, it's hard to wire money, fiat money, to anywhere around the world. Slower and sometimes complicated, but with crypto, it's boom. Doesn't matter if you're a block away or, countries away, right? That's how crypto works, and it works really good that way. And so, yeah, it's not ready for prime time as far as paying for a candy bar, but for transactions like this, where you're giving potentially millions of dollars to a charity organization in a third world country, there's really no better way than crypto. So this is good news. 2.4 million approximate new users who made a trade using a decentralized exchange via Polygon. Oh, via Polygon only. 2.4 million. So Polygon is an awesome story of 2022. Polygon, a layer 2 blockchain network that sits on top of Ethereum, that makes Ethereum transactions faster and gas fees much lower, has really done a lot. They're in play with a lot of people in the crypto space, and there's a lot of good. And that the Matic token of theirs, if I was investing in altcoins, this would be one that I would probably look into, because I really believe that Polygon's a good company. And just a side note while I'm here, this is one question a lot of new people ask me in crypto, and they're like, I don't understand the difference between investing in coins and investing in like the stock market. Explain that to me. And this is a simple explanation of this. If you're in the stock market, you invest in a company that you think is a good company, that will earn profits, that will provide useful services and products to the world. And if people like their product and buy it, the price of the stock will go up because more people believe in that company. And that's how stock prices go up, right? In general. It's the same thing in crypto. People are like, I don't get this coin thing. Well, a coin represents the investment opportunity that someone can take to own a part of this technology. And what's cool about it, what's different, is that a lot of these tokens and coins originally are created to be used within the protocol as how the protocol functions. You need a token or an asset to be moved through it, to be either mined in a layer 1 or an asset that is a function or a part of the network that either supports transactions as gas fees, if you will. But you also then can invest in that as just an investor. So when I'm using the Polygon network to transact for a DeFi protocol that runs on the Polygon network, I have to have Matic tokens to pay for gas, to pay for those transactions. That's how crypto works, is that it's a self-functioning environment where if I want to do a transaction, I've got to pay for that transaction to happen. And so I pay a little bit of it in what's called gas. And if I'm using Polygon, I use the Matic token. So I have to have that. It's how the network runs. But I also then, as an investor, think, oh, Polygon's a really good project, it's a really good network. I really think a lot of people are going to use this, and Polygon will be very popular. Therefore, that token, which is its main way that it's represented, the value on the open market will go up, right? Supply and demand. There's a finite supply of these Matic tokens. If a lot of people think that it's a valuable company or a project, then that will push the price up. And if I invest low and it goes high, and if I want to sell and I can earn that profit, that's just like investing in the stock market. So hopefully that makes sense. Kind of a tangent here, but for newbies, I get asked that question all the time, and that's how I explain it. So So there you go. That is about Polygon. Let's see. So 208,000 number of USD coins, a stable coin redeemable for $1. So this has turned out to be sort of the newbie version. So if you see this, if you're watching this and you know some new people in crypto, forward them this show, because I'm really going to get down to some basics. Because right now I'm building my course. It's actually open for taking right now, for buying. And there's a lot of things that I cover in here. And I really want people to understand that are new to crypto, really the basics of what crypto is all about and how it's created, why it's created, what are all the components, what's a stable coin, what's the difference between layer ones and layer twos, who's Satoshi Nakamoto, right? Because I feel like if you really understand crypto at a base level, then when it goes up and down, it's crazy, you don't panic because you understand what's going on. If you don't know crypto and how it functions, then when it wildly goes up and down, you're probably freaked out. So this is my stance. This is why I love being a crypto educator. So anyways, stable coins are crypto coins that are pegged to the dollar, right? They don't move up, they don't move down. They're really valuable in the DeFi protocols because these are the cryptos that we take either our fiat or maybe some of our Ethereum and we convert it into stable coin and then we park it in these DeFi applications. And we know that that's not going to go up or down. It's going to sit there at $1 and earn interest for us. It's a beautiful thing, really, right? Now, the cool thing is if you pair up that stable coin with another crypto coin that isn't a stable coin, but is a blue chip coin like Ethereum or maybe Bitcoin, and you put that in the liquidity in a DeFi protocol, you've got a very valuable asset that does go up and down, and you've got a stable coin that sits there and doesn't move up and down. And that provides a really good, solid place to provide liquidity that isn't too dangerous. It's not going to fall apart. It's not going to go too far up or too far down. Now, and that's where you can earn this stable interest for anywhere from 4 to 10 to 20% even on some of these stable coin liquidity farms, if you will. And so stablecoins are really important, for the DeFi protocol. And so what it's saying here is that addresses with balances over 1,000 as of this month is an all-time high. The development was likely bolstered by several Coinbase initiatives, including waiving fees for converting UST into USDC, and when buying and selling USDC with any global fiat currency supported by the exchange. So this is good news. This is basically saying that there's a lot of people that had a lot of their crypto sitting in stable coins. Well, it's a bear market, so it may not be such a great time to be putting your money and your assets in some of these other altcoins or other projects because they're down right now. Why don't not just sit tight? This is the equivalent in the stock market where people coming out and seeing in cash or cash equivalents that don't move up and down a lot, kind of riding out the bear market, waiting for things to turn up again. That's how a lot of people use it. Again, as I just explained, I don't use it that way. I don't let it just sit there. I use it and I put it to work to earn yield. And so it can be used in lots of different ways. But stable coins are really one of the most brilliant areas of crypto. And I don't think people sometimes understand how important stablecoins are. And it's why we're always looking for the perfect one. Right now, there are multiple ones. USDT, which is referred to Tether a lot, and USDC, which is referred or owned and run by Circle, are the two big ones right now. USDC, in my mind, is the more stable, more robust, safer stablecoin right now, in my opinion, because they are showing that they have assets for every stablecoin crypto coin you have that's pegged to $1. They've got assets backing that up, hard assets, either cash or I believe different bonds or liquid assets that can be converted to cash really quickly. They do have apparently some also Bitcoin, I believe, backing that up. Tether refuses to really tell us what is backing their stablecoin up. And so there's a lot of confusion about that. I, for one, just like USDC now. There are also algorithmic stablecoins that are pegged to the dollar based on an algorithm that tries to keep it steady. Terra Luna was one of those with UST, and I had money in that and I got burned. So I'm staying away from stablecoins or algorithmic stablecoins right now. There are some other good ones out there. DAI is a stablecoin that is a hybrid algorithmic stablecoin, but it seems to be really well structured, and there are assets that back it up. Pretty much you have to mint it, so you have to have $1 of an asset that you put into the system, and then you get minted out or created, let's say, $1 of a DAI token that you can use as a stablecoin, and it stays at $1. So its mechanism is pretty stable. It is now, I think, the king of the algorithmic stablecoins. Some people don't even call it an algorithmic stablecoin because you're actually investing the same asset, the amount of assets in it, holding it against what you're borrowing. It's almost like a 1-for-1 borrow. So it's an interesting one too. But stablecoins really important part of the crypto ecosystem, and but we'll see them continuing to be looked at to be more regulated, to be more asset backed, so that we can be really super confident that these stablecoins won't crash, because people expect when they're in there, they expect them, they're not going to go up or down or crash. They're just going to stay there. When you get into Bitcoin and other cryptos, you know it's going to go up and down. You get that. It's part of the game. But when you're in stablecoins, you do not want that thing following or going up or down. It's supposed to stay right at $1. And for the most part, USDC has always done that. USDT Tether has gone down a little bit, depegged from $1 occasionally, but hasn't crashed. And so it's still out there, still billions of dollars of assets in Tether. But again, USDC is my favorite. So let's move on. Number 114 is the number of nations that are exploring their own central bank digital currencies. Oh boy, CBDCs. They are completely digital versions of government issued money. Boy, I could go on about this, but I'm not going to. Excuse me, because it's a very weighty subject. But what I'll say is that it's something we need to look at, because it's basically taking a Bitcoin type of cash and then creating your government issued fiat. It's not fiat, but it would be government issued digital money. China right now, it has one, and they are using it, and we can see they can control everything about the person that is using that CBDC, that coin, that token that the government issues and owns. That's anti-decentralized cryptocurrency. So it really is the antithesis of everything that we love and believe in pure decentralized finance and in crypto, basically. But we also know that the cat's out of the bag. It's coming. Governments don't want to lose control. And crypto is a way that they feel they will lose control. And it's true, they will. So there's going to be this battle. It's going to be a long battle. It's going to start coming hard and fast in the next few years. But 114 nations are exploring creating their own, including US, all of the major governments and all of in between. But 114 are actively exploring that. So we'll see what happens. US government is coming out with what's called the FedNow, which is a digital payment system next year. That, people say, may be the first entry into a US-based CBDC. We'll see. I don't know. Some people think FedNow is a good thing. A lot of people think it's not a good thing because it's the beginning of what a US CBDC would be. We'll see what happens about it. Like I said, this kind of thing is coming. We just have to be prepared and stay on top of it. So stay on top of CBDCs if you're learning crypto or you're a crypto enthusiast and you want to learn more. This will be a big deal in the future. Right now, it doesn't really affect us because they aren't around, but we need to shape it as much as we can how these get rolled out. Okay, this is a good number, 99.95% energy efficient improvement of Ethereum after the network completed its long-awaited merge in September. The upgrade changed how the second largest blockchain verifies transactions, replacing the energy-intensive proof-of-work method for the more eco-friendly proof of stake consensus method. So this is a big deal. Mostly if you've been in crypto, you heard about the merge this year. It was a huge deal for Ethereum. Bitcoin now is the major network as proof of work, which is very energy intensive. Now that Ethereum is off of that, it uses 99.9% less energy. Some will say now it's not as safe, that the proof of stake consensus method does not protect the network like proof of work does. And I think at this point it's up in the air. Ethereum seems to be doing really well security-wise and with proof of stake. And it allows us and anyone really to become a validator and earn interest. And because we can be part of securing the network, we can have a node and we can become validators and earn interest. Just like you can as a Bitcoin miner, but with Bitcoin mining, it takes a lot of equipment, a lot of energy. The average person can still do it, but it's a lot harder. A little bit easier in Ethereum, although you do have to put up 32 ETH, which can be quite a bit of money to start. But there's cool things like there is liquid staking protocols out there, like Rocket Pool and Lido, which allows people like you and me to just put our assets into this protocol, and then it goes out and creates nodes and has validators that pay the 32 ETH or whatever, and then we get to split the rewards with them. So we'll earn interest, typically around 4%. But it's a simple method where you basically just swap in a decentralized wallet. So if you use something like a MetaMask wallet and you've got ETH in there, you basically just swap ETH for RETH in the case of Rocket Pool, which you can do on Uniswap or you can do it on Rocket Pool's website. And now you're staking. That RETH is part of the liquid staking and you're earning somewhere around 4%. It could not be simpler to earn more than you can earn in a bank account in traditional finance. So it's something to look into. It's what I teach my students. It's the first part of DeFi, and we learn what's called staking and how to do this. It's simple, and then we move on to some more complicated DeFi protocols, but it's very simple. Okay, let's move on. 96%. This is the price decline of Terra Luna's token in a 24-hour period in May, shortly after the crypto's related stablecoin Terra USD, a so-called algorithmic stablecoin, lost its peg to the dollar and prompted both Terra's uncollateralized tokens to collapse. The ensuing 30 billion wipeout sent shockwaves throughout the crypto industry that prompted a liquidity crisis for firms like Celsius, Three Arrows Capital, and more. And I'll just throw in their FTX. They're pretty much now saying that FTX, hopefully being the last of the dominoes that started to fall in these centralized lending entities that started off when Terra collapsed. And when you have 30 billion wipeout, that is a big shockwave. And it filtered through months and months and months and collapsed many, many companies as it was this pyramid, this house of cards that they were all kind of over leveraged and over lending. And it's tragic in a lot of ways, but again, it needed to happen. I believe the crypto world needed to cleanse itself of this. And really, it broke itself because it wasn't our amazing regulators that figured this out. These things collapsed on their own before regulators even have a clue what's going on. Again, my opinion. 14 is the age of October 31st of Satoshi Nakamoto's Bitcoin white paper. Wow, 14 years, which outlines the core mechanism of cryptocurrency. Next month, on January 3rd, Bitcoin will celebrate its 14th anniversary of the first transaction ever recorded on the network. So can you believe that crypto has only been around for 14 years? And really, Bitcoin had this start, and now, like Ethereum and DeFi, the stuff that we take for granted, the meat and potatoes of crypto right now, really only been around for 5 years. 5-6 years. That's just like baby time. So when people get worried they've missed out, we are so at the beginning. Nobody's missed out on anything. There is so much left to invest in, to appreciate, and to just ride this amazing wave into the future of technology and finance. It's amazing. All right, 9.1%. This year's peak inflation reading from June's Consumer Price Index, which indicated the U.S. was seeing the worst year-over-year inflation increase in 41 years. Red-hot inflation and the Federal Reserve's attempt to combat it by raising interest rates have pressured most markets in 2022, especially riskier growth assets like tech stocks and crypto. Yeah, if anybody has any wonder why the markets are down, well, here you go. I mean, this is it. This is it. And if you want to step it back further, a lot of people are blaming the Fed for keeping interest rates so low for so long and just letting this build up in pressure. And then when the pandemic hit and the U.S. government had to bail out, or all governments had to bail out us all, they just printed money. They just created it, which that just debased the value of all the fiat currency, which they've done before. Excuse me. COVID cough. And then caused all of this pressure. The inflation had to rise. Prices, had to go up when you put so much money out into the ecosystem like that. Now, I'm not saying they shouldn't have done it. It was a pandemic. It was a black swan event. But they should have known better that this would happen and have a plan. And so then now the Fed is just crunching, raising interest rates and just crunching the market, the economy, certainly the mortgage industry, the building and real estate industries. But surprisingly, the economy has just been resilient. And I think a lot of it is just that people had this pent up savings, this money that they had gotten from the government. They had cut back spending because of the pandemic, so they had some extra money around. And even though the Fed wanted to slow the economy down, it just took a long time. And so the Fed says they're going to continue to raise interest rates until something breaks. What is that's going to break? That's the question. Are they? I mean, are they going to really crush the real estate industry to where it's like wounded to the fact that where people, industries and companies will be completely wiped out? I don't know. Will we go into? I think we're in a recession, but we're barely there because the consumers are just continuing to spend and borrow. I think they're borrowing on their credit cards and they're borrowing, easier money or easier credit to just stay afloat and continue to buy. And we've seen that this holiday season. I mean, their spending is still high. We would have thought that this holiday season that retailers would have been way down, and so far they're not. So it's a little worrisome that no matter what the Fed does, they're not crushing the economy yet, and that they keep going. But unfortunately, instead of having a soft landing, potentially it could just tip and go really bad into depression. Now, from what I can tell, from people I listen to, they don't think that's going to happen. That they think that things are about to ease right now, and that we'll see a soft landing coming next year. And at that point, we're going to see all the markets turn, and crypto will really turn. A lot of people think that the bottom is really close. Some don't think that, but that's the beauty of this. Nobody knows for sure, right? That's why I don't worry about it. I dollar cost average. I'm getting it cheap right now. And as it goes up, I'll keep still, putting the same amount in and averaging a really good rate overall because I'm dollar cost averaging into Bitcoin and Ethereum. And again, earning yield in DeFi. So, all right. So we're coming up on the hour. There's probably more numbers in here, but I've covered a lot. This has been actually really fun and interesting. I hope you guys have enjoyed it. It kind of was an intro to a lot of concepts that I've studied and learned in the last few years in crypto, and it really was cool because a lot of these concepts I'm able to tie back to what I teach to my students. As you can see on the bottom there, My academy, my crypto, I don't really call it academy, I call it a crypto program. I call it Crypto for the Rest of Us. And it's really a crypto course to teach new people or people that are just getting into crypto and want to know the fundamentals of what it is, and also are a little bit nervous about how do I actually get into crypto. Now, a lot of people are using apps like Robinhood and maybe Cash App and maybe PayPal to get into crypto. I don't approve of that. I just don't think it's a good idea because they make it too easy to get in and you don't really understand what's going on. And so a lot of people got in when the market was up last year and it was exciting. And as it came down, they were really scared and mad and confused, but they didn't understand what crypto's all about. And they were listening to the mainstream media because they really weren't into crypto. They were just thinking, I'll go ahead and invest in this. It's pretty easy to do with these apps. And so they just listened to what the mainstream media said and they didn't really understand crypto. So right now, crypto's got a really bad name. And I'm here to say and to tell people, no, it doesn't. Crypto's fine. Decentralized crypto is doing great. DeFi is doing great. Bitcoin and Ethereum will be back. They are not crashing. In fact, as the traditional markets are going down and the bond market's down, the worst it's been in 40 years, inflation that's been worse than 40 years, Bitcoin is still hanging around. Is it going down? Well, yeah. Is it crashing? No way. So crypto is not what a lot of people think it is. And I feel if you understand the basics of it, like who created it, how did he create it, why did he create it, what's the difference between a coin and a token, what is a blockchain, what really the heck does blockchain mean, and why are some people calling it a revolutionary technology that's going to change the world, that is changing the world. Well, why? That's the kind of stuff we cover in this course. But I also teach people that have never gone onto an exchange like Coinbase to actually go in and connect their bank account and transfer some of their basic money into Ethereum or Bitcoin or a stable coin, and then and buy Bitcoin, right? And then how do you store it? What's the safest method to store your crypto? There's multiple different ways. We've learned that a lot of people who invested by these apps and they just invested it, they didn't understand what a wallet was versus just buying Bitcoin or crypto and keeping it on their exchange, on Robinhood or whatever, that if it was FTX, and some people just bought crypto from FTX on the app and just left it in FTX, well, it's gone now because FTX crashed. So it's probably not a great idea to keep your crypto on these exchanges. So I teach people how to then move it to a wallet or even to a cold wallet, which is a piece of hardware that isn't connected to the internet and is the absolute safest way to keep your crypto. I also teach people you have to be responsible, 100% responsible for your money, which is a great thing because that means you have all the control over it. It also means you better know how to save your passwords and your keys and your crypto, because if you lose that, there's no bank to go to. There's no 800 number. So I teach people the best, most safe, secure way to store and keep their crypto. And then I talk about DeFi. How can I earn interest rate? How can I earn a yield that's better than the 0.5% I can get from my local bank or from a CD or a money market, 1 or 2%, and the stock market, which is down 30 or 40% right now. And people say, well, why would I invest in crypto? It's down 60 or 70%. No, there's DeFi, which is part of the crypto ecosystem because it uses blockchain, but it doesn't mean we're investing in coins that are going to go up or down. We're going to invest in protocols that we can earn interest rates, 10%, 20%, 30%, pretty consistently. Well, not pretty consistently because we have a system that I teach on people. It's like where and what protocols to put your money into and then do it, how to do it. Because one thing about crypto is you've actually got to go in, log in, and move things around. You've got to have a software wallet, maybe a hardware wallet. If you've never used this kind of stuff before, you might be like, oh, it's too technical for me. It's not. You just need somebody like me to help you walk through it step by step, learning it. We get on, we share screen. I have videos that show people exactly step by step how you do it. None of it's financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. It's simply education on how I invest in crypto. And I teach people if they want to do it the same way, they can. And some of the basic principles. So You can access that course right now. It's open. I'm taking applications right now at www.retirementwithcrypto.com. And the program's called Crypto for the Rest of Us. And I would love anyone to go ahead and try it out. And let's see what you think. Crypto is here to stay. And again, if you learn it the right way, learn what it's all about, I hope that you will get just as excited as I am and a lot of my colleagues here. Shout out and a Merry Christmas and holiday to my London Real family, my Kings of DeFi family, and the whole crypto industry and family out there. That it's been a rough year, but it's been one that I think will ultimately turn out good for crypto. And I look forward to 2023. I think it's going to be a great year for crypto, and I'm excited. I hope you're excited too. So that's all for the show today. Hopefully you stuck it out with me kind of getting into the nitty gritty stuff. Hopefully Brianna will be back next show, and we'll get back to some more light and airy, and not airy, but some more positive and more spiritual type connection that Brianna brings to it. And she knows a lot about crypto, and she really puts a wonderful spin on how to connect that to our spiritual life and how to use basically the concept in crypto about having moving trending upwards in your life. So she can be found at her channel at go to Brianna's channel on YouTube, and she has some great stuff that she's going to be able to share with you. So for now, this is Crypto Talk with Brianna and Scott. Just Scott for the day. Have a great Christmas and a happy New Year, and we'll see you next year. All right, bye everybody. Oh, and by the way, it's Purified People. That's crypto. That is Brianna's crypto channel. I'm getting tired here. My COVID brain is kicking in. I'm almost done. I'm healthy. I got rid of the fever, so I'm hopefully doing good.
Every
if I
Christmas,
rambled on too much, and it was crazy talk. It was COVID. But
reindeer's coming out.
thanks, guys. Have a day. Christmas and New Year. We'll see you next year.
Santa Claus is packing the presents.